We start with breaking news. We now know that the 18-year-old gunman who slaughtered 21 people inside an elementary school in Texas was not confronted by a school resource officer before entering the building and entered through an unlocked door.
Also tonight, Texas law enforcement being criticized for waiting more than 40 minutes before entering the building to try and stop the massacre.
We reached out to Spokane Public Schools to find out if a similar situation was possible here.
They said that all possible entrances to all K-12 schools are locked. The only way in is through the main entrance where they would need to be buzzed in. As
for how emergency crews would respond, they say they trained to specifically go into a school while the shooter is still inside. Tonight at 6 o'clock, Emily Bloom explains.
Erin, Nia, as we all mourn the lives lost in Texas, it's natural for us to wonder how our first responders would handle a similar situation and if they're prepared to do so. A multi-agency, large-scale, reality-based training just happened in March. It was hosted by FEMA and took place at Meade High School. Now, we want to warn you, some of this video could be particularly tough to watch given the events over the past few days.
One of the best ways that you can prepare for a horrific tragedy like this is to have some idea of how you will react if that event transpires.
This video comes from a training with Spokane Fire back in 2015.
Respond to Jefferson Elementary School, the corner of 37th and Grand. We reported shots fired inside of the school.
It is that way, the shooter's that way. I got wounded down, in here.
In this video, you can see a core component in the training is paramedics and EMTs responding when the gunman is still at large.
When you have a scenario that's almost like a battlefield where people are injured severely, a lot of multi-system trauma, blood loss, the quicker you can get to them, the quicker you have an opportunity to save them.
Our local agencies have trained for this, but there are always ways to improve upon that training by learning from these kinds of situations.
We need to look at the science, look at what's actually happening in front of us, digest it, rationalize it, discuss it, talk about it, in this case with our kids, talk about their fears, get everything on the table, and then start working towards a solution.
And also talking about preventative measures.
If we continue to accept this and don't engage in meaningful conversation, don't engage in ways that we can work upstream, I think the consequences or the outcomes are predictable.
Fire Chief Brian Schaefer says if it's predictable, it's preventable.
All these people are important, and we care about all of them, whether they live in Spokane or not. They're all our communities.
Parents and kids may have noticed Spokane police at our schools in the area over the past few days. Now, that is not because of any kind of threat or a given concern. They're here to provide a sense of comfort during this time of great fear for so many. Reporting in studio, Emily Bloom, 4 News Now.